All right, now part 3. I'm back like a migraine headache. And before I get started, I want to recommend something to you. This is free. Free. Apocalypse Alive. Of course, you're seeing it backwards. It's reading backwards. Ivala, ellipse, whatever on that. And that is a book that my friend, Danny Hubbard, has written. And you can get a free copy of that. Write this down. www.revealpublishing.com/book.html. One more time, and you can pause it and go back to this. revealpublishing.com/book.html. That will be a digital copy that you'll use on your device. You can have that for free. No strings attached, no tricks. We do a program, Danny and I, each Friday, been doing it for years, on prophecy. Danny's the real expert. I'm just his sidekick. You can borrow brains, but you can't borrow character. He's my brains. And so, but you can get a free book there. And if you ever want to listen in, that's wtbj.org. wtbj.org. And that's 7 to 8 o'clock Central Time each Friday. Also, you could, of course, listen 89.9 or 91.3 FM if you're in the Oxford, Gadsden area. Well, let's get right on to this. This is going to be impossible. I've been trying to do these things 15 minutes. I am not going to do this justice. This is the tribulation period. I'm sorry. I apologize ahead of time. The outline of the book of Revelation. Revelation chapter 1, verse 19. God gives the outline. Here's how you interpret it. Write the things which thou hast seen. That's the past. What has been past from the time of his writing this in verse 19? Well, that's chapter 1. Okay, the vision of the Lord which he had seen. And the things which are. The things which are in the time of this writing was chapter 2 and 3. That's the 7 churches. These were 7 historical churches. And then he says, the things which shall be, key word, hereafter. That's the future. And that's chapter 4 through the end of the book of Revelation. This is the prophetic book. You take it literally. And God uses, just like I use the word like and as, probably too much, but that's literal language. Okay, chapter 4, verse 1, after this I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven. The first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet. It was powerful, talking with me, which said, come up hither, and I will show thee things which must be, here's the word, hereafter. From that point on to the end, it's all prophecy. So we're going to look at the tribulation period. This is a 7-year period. It does not start immediately after the rapture. It starts when the Antichrist rises to power. That's the first seal of Revelation 6 on the earth. Chapter 4 and 5, the scene is in heaven. God's people have been raptured up. They've already got their crowns, their Stephanoses that we talked about last time. And they've cast them at the feet of God on the throne. And they say, thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory, honor, and power. For thou hast created all things, and for thy glory they are and were created. That's what we're here for, folks. God's glory. It's not about us. Bottom line of life. Okay? Now, when the Antichrist rises to power, there is going to be a time where he will make a treaty, or he'll confirm a treaty. Possibly one of the treaties already on the table. He'll, according to Daniel chapter 9, he'll confirm this treaty. That starts the 7-year clock period of the tribulation period. Now we're going to go through this quickly. This is just a quick overview. But the first thing in Revelation chapter 6 are the 7 seal judgments. These are not pretty. None of this stuff is pretty. Matter of fact, before I get into those, let me turn to Matthew chapter 24. In the words of Jesus in Matthew chapter 24, he's talking, and Matthew 24 is all about this time. That's what Matthew 24 is about. It's not about now. If we see things like this, They're just foreshadows of it. The pandemic is not the tribulation period. That's in the 7-year period following the rapture. All right? But we're seeing foreshadows, and we're seeing the whole world coming together, like and stopping and shutting down. But Matthew chapter 24, verse 21, Jesus says, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time." From God's creation, these 6,000 years to this time approximately. "No, nor ever shall be." After this 7-year period, there won't be a more terrible time than this. This is the worst period of history. If you're not saved, run to Jesus. You want to be saved so you miss this period and go up at the rapture. Or if it doesn't come, if the Lord doesn't come as soon as we think he's going to come, then you'll die and go to heaven. But you'll miss this period, and of course you'll miss eternity in hell too. That's a great thing to miss. 7 seal judgments, Revelation chapter 6. The first one, the rise of the Antichrist, the man of sin. He rises to power. We talked about that. Number 2, worldwide war and bloodshed. These are in Revelation 6. You can look at them. That's the second seal. Peace is taken from the earth. They rise up with a sword to kill. Nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. Number 3 seal, worldwide famine. The economy of the world collapses. This is not just one place. This is throughout the world. And there's worldwide famine. The price of things is just skyrocketed because of a lack of them. The 4th seal, 1/4 of the world population dies. 1/4. If we round it and say 8 billion people, that means 2 billion people just from this one seal judgment will die because of violence, famine, deadly disease, and the beasts of the earth, which is unique. We have to go on. Number 5, martyrdom. That's the seal of the martyrs who are in heaven with the Lord. Their souls are, and they're saying, "How long, O Lord, do you not avenge us?" And God's going to avenge the world. That's why we're calling this the recompensing. Number 3 of our studies, this is called recompensing. God is paying now what they deserve, the world. Number 6, the 6th seal opens, a great earthquake around the world. You ever been to a football game that's kind of a one-sided deal and they do a wave all around the stadium? Well, imagine that, a worldwide earthquake that goes through a wave throughout the world. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be awful. We've never seen anything quite like that. And then the 7th seal opens a series of the 7 trumpet judgments. Oh, my soul, you think this is bad? It's getting worse. Jesus likened this unto a woman with childbirth pangs. Okay, my wife has had several children, and she at first you start to feel the pains. You know it's coming, and there's a good space between them, and then another one comes. But as time gets closer to the birth, they're more severe, and they're closer together, and this is the way it's going to progress throughout the 7 years. Jesus used that very illustration. Now, that opens up the 7th seal, opens up the 7 trumpet judgments. Here's what they are, my paraphrase of them. This is in Revelation 8 and 9, and one other chapter, the 7th. Number 1, a storm like never seen before of hail mixed with fire falls upon the earth. 1/3 of all the trees are burned up. That's a bad thing. And all green grass is burned up. That's just from one of these 7 trumpet judgments. The 2nd trumpet judgment, a giant meteor, that's how I see it, hits the ocean. It says it was a great mountain burning with fire. Sounds like a meteor to me. Hits the ocean. 1/3 part of the sea becomes blood. I don't know how that happens, how God's going to do it. I just know it's going to happen because God said it's going to happen. Okay, number 3 trumpet. Another great meteor falls, and the meteorite comes and hits the earth. 1/3 of the fresh water is poisoned. I have an idea how this could be. Don't have time to get into it now. So 1/3 of the fresh water supplies around the world are destroyed. Talk about desperation. This is bad stuff. You don't want to be alive during this time, folks. Okay, the fourth trumpet, 1/3 of the sun, moon, and stars are smitten, causing the day to go from 24 to 16 hours. The day and the night are 1/3 shortened. Then the fifth trumpet, which is also called the first woe. Now this is creepy. For 5 months, these demonic creatures come out of the bottomless pit, and they torment people who don't have the seal of God, who have not been saved. They torment them for 5 months. The people can't die, but just be tormented. This is awful. This is nothing like this has ever been in the world. That's why Jesus said this was the worst period of time. Okay? The sixth trumpet, which is also called the second woe. There's 4 more demonic creatures that are being held over by the Euphrates River, and they're going to be let loose. And from this sixth trumpet judgment, 1/3 of the earth's remaining population will die because of the fire, smoke, and brimstone of these 4 demonic creatures. Now, folks, 1/4 and 1/3, that's 1/2. 1/2. We've gone from 8 billion to 4 billion just from 2 judgments, not counting all the other many millions of people that are dying here. Then trumpet 7 sounds. The voice from heaven declares that the earth is God's, it belongs to Him, and that Jesus Christ in the future will reign on the earth forever and ever. And you can take it to the bank. He's Lord of Lords, King of Kings, and He's going to reign. Then we're going to go to Revelation 16. Now, this is the second half of the tribulation period. These are called the 7 vial judgments. The first one, painful sores on all who have the mark of the beast. That was instituted halfway through the tribulation, the mark of the beast. And so these painful running sores. Number 2, the sea turns to blood and all that live in the sea die. Wow. It didn't say like blood. Okay, it says turn to blood. Verse 3, fresh water supplies turn to blood. There's no more fresh water supplies. They've turned to blood. Number 4, vial judgment. The sun heats so hot, gets so much hotter. Talking about global warming? It'll be during this time that it'll scorch men's back like fire. Okay? The 5th vial judgment. The Antichrist kingdom is blacked out. It's in total darkness, and people are fearful of the darkness, and they're sitting in their places, and they're gnawing their tongues for pain. The 6th vial judgment. The Euphrates River dries up, so all the kings of the east, you got China, and you got Korea, North Korea, and just all these different places, so they can come to the Middle East for the Battle of Armageddon. And then the 7th vial judgment, a voice over all the earth from God's throne. People hear it, and then it's accompanied by another earthquake worldwide that is the worst one yet. It's even worse than one of those 7 seal judgments that we looked at. Now, very quickly here, and I'm running out of time, I want to keep this about 15 minutes. The first 3.5 years, the Antichrist makes a treaty with Israel. He breaks it 3.5 years into it, but he protects Israel. There's worldwide chaos and war, but Israel is safe. One world false church is formed. It comes in with the Antichrist. This is a wicked, false church, and it's based on deception. Number 3, Russia and our allies attack Israel. This is the first 3.5 years of the tribulation period. That's in Ezekiel 38 and 39. God wipes them out on the mountains of Israel. The Jewish temple is up and running during this first 3.5 years, and they're offering sacrifices and offerings there. God's 2 witnesses, 2 Old Testament saints come back, and they, for the first 3.5 years, witness. Okay, half time, the abomination of desolation, the Antichrist goes into that temple, declares himself God. From then on, he is cleansing the world of Jews and Christians, especially the last 3.5 years. Christians have already been dying the first 3.5 years. Now the Jews are dying the last 3.5 years. 2/3 of all Jews will die. The mark of the beast is instituted halfway through there, and through the last 3.5 years, Satan is cast out of heaven halfway, and for the last 3.5 years, the Antichrist moves to Babylon. The Antichrist murder and Jew of Christians, which we've said. Babylon's destroyed later, and then the battle of Armageddon. This, my friend, you do not want to be here. If the Lord Jesus comes today, will you be taken or will you be left behind? That's all we have time for today. Hey, thanks for listening very much. I really appreciate it. Share these with others. And again, you can get that free book at revealpublishing.com/book.html. Thanks for listening.